Whether you're a new real estate investor just taking down your first property or an experienced veteran with thousands of units under your belt, operating your multifamily deal is the make or break point for building wealth. Welcome to this property operations miniseries, part of the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast. This miniseries is hosted by my friend Jack Petrick and, of course, by me, Agostino Pintus, the host of Bulletproof Cashflow. In this miniseries, we'll cover what you do after you take down that deal and what it's going to take to become a successful property owner that you want to be. So let's go ahead and get into the show.
Hey guys, this is Agostino. I have my good friend Jack Petrick on, and thank you so much for joining us on this mini series so far. We've covered so much ground, everything from property management to leasing to contractors, materials, in our duties as entrepreneurs to really make that property improve. But a real big part, and if you've been following Bulletproof Cashflow for a while, you know that this is a team sport, right? You build this business with partners. That is how it's done, okay? That partnership that you develop from the very first beginning of when you start off this business is critical to how you're going to perform as your career in real estate. Basically that's how it is. And I will say that aside from the partnerships that you're establishing with vendors, with property managers, with attorneys and CPAs and inspectors and all that, aside from those relationships, also comes down to your partners that you are working with in terms of the GP, the general partnership, right? What you're trying to do is you're trying to find people that have the same goals as you, that have the same integrity that you do. And hopefully it's good integrity. That's ultimately what we're trying to do here, because again, fiduciary responsibility to our investors and raising money. But the biggest breakdown that many partnerships have that I found, and just by talking to hundreds of people at this point on the podcast, is that they did not have the same drive and ambition to grow the business. So one guy wanted to stay small and stay under the radar, and the other guy wanted to become a billionaire. You know what? That is not going to work. That's not going to work, right? If both people have the same aspirations to build something big and they're both motivated and driven, I find that you get to feed off each other. You get to feed off each other, and you get to build something great that way. So Jack and I are partnered up on one deal already, and maybe Jack, you can talk a little bit about your experience with some of the partners you've worked with.
Absolutely. So. Partnerships, there's a number of partnerships that are pretty consistent in this business. So when we're looking to buy properties, typically there's somebody that brings private investors into the transaction. So potentially one of those partners in the deal might be a money raiser. Another partner that could be involved in the deal is somebody that has operational experience, somebody that's an operator. Without the operator, the deals do not succeed. And the operator, there can be a range of what that entails. To some people, that means they're the property manager, leasing agent, or they bring that skill to the table. Some of it, they might be a general contractor, or they bring construction and that knowledge in that. So yeah, those are typically several of the relationships that are being brought into a deal. So oftentimes, and then the third part of it is the relationships directly with private lenders. So the one thing that is the same, consistent, no matter what those relationships are, is integrity, morals, and values are the biggest, most critical piece of any partnership. A partnership it's basically a business marriage. And just like in relationships, half of marriages go wonderful, half go to divorce. And partnerships either are an amazing effort or it's a disaster. Two people can get the work done of three or more if they're in unison pulling together. That's why we look at like Clydesdale horses. When you have two horses pulling a load, they can pull far more as a team than they can separately, obviously, and more than just the two of them. But the biggest, most critical piece is morals, values, integrity. And this is the conversation I have with my private investors. Like, that is the most paramount piece of it. The second piece to look at, whether or not, what relationship you're looking to be into, is what experience does that person bring to the table? The third thing is the deal itself. If somebody comes to me with an amazing deal, but they don't have morals, integrity, and value, and they don't have, it's game over. Or if they have that, but they don't have experience, then that's a weakness in itself. So it's almost like deals are like a three-legged table. With three legs, it can hold, but if you lose a leg, it's going to fall over. So I think that's the first thing just to kind of like emphasize about is just the importance of evaluating that honestly. If this is the person you haven't worked with before, you haven't done work with before, if you go on Facebook, you'll find that we have a lot of mutual friends. It's worth reaching out to those people and what's this guy like, what's this gal like, because reputation, it travels pretty easily of overall who we are as a person. Doing a background check, doing a criminal background check. Now that doesn't say that somebody could have made a mistake in the past, but there's a difference between a mistake and an explanation than a repetitive issue. So just to kind of start off with, those are the first pieces that I personally look for. And then secondly, I think we could talk about how do we find these people?
Well, and that's exactly it. There's actually someone, I had a few people reach out to me and they're like, I really want to partner with you on a deal. So they'll talk on the phone. I'll say, okay, I'll tell you what, I have a short conversation with them and say, let's schedule a time to talk this coming Friday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, great. I'll be there. I'll send out a schedule. I'll send out a link. I get on the call. They don't show up. Then I message them. Hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Everything all right? No response. So what does this tell you? That little lesson tells you how serious they actually are, right? And it's like, if they ghost you, doing that kind of stuff, hey, you know what? In my book, that's a check mark right there. It's like, I don't know what that's all about. If you can't even show up to a phone call, that's a problem. That's a problem. I mean, that speaks to their integrity. You said you were going to be there. You said you're serious about it. Maybe they had an honest excuse, and maybe there's a reason. Okay, fine, but at least respond to an email, right? I mean, it's something as simple as that, and maybe it's a little bit, unforgiving, so to speak. But you're trying to find telltale signs of whether they're going to be dependable or not. That's ultimately what you're trying to do. I mean, there's actually even one lady, she got into business. It was not multifamily real estate. It's a real estate related business. And she wanted her and her partner she wanted to meet up with me to talk about investing in a deal. And I looked her up. She was good. I just did a Google search on her partner, and her partner happened to have some bad stuff out there, right? And he was in his former life, in his former industry. And I said to her, I go, hey, listen, everybody's got reasons with some things that happened. I don't know what they are, but you better tell them to get that stuff fixed, because I will not do business with you, because I don't want to get mixed up with that. Because the second that an investor looks me up, they're going to see I'm associated with that guy. That guy may be a good guy. I'm sure he's fine. But you know what? I don't need that in my life, right? So who you partner up with is absolutely critical. Just like I said,
Yes.
it's the three-legged stool, right? If one of these legs are weak, it's going to fall over, and you're done. You're done. Absolutely.
It takes a lifetime to build a reputation integrity. It takes one decision to lose that. So when I raise private capital from investors, I have a fiduciary responsibility to protect that capital with higher regards of my own money. And when people are investing with me, they're taking current IRA funds and 457 funds and Roth IRA funds. They're moving to a self-directed IRA. They're investing their life savings, their entire savings of retirement with me in a deal. I will never have that conversation. We messed up. So I have to look at partners with an extreme amount of scrutiny to make sure that I'm making the right decision to protect everybody else's interest in that deal. Not just private investors, but the lender too. We have a deal that goes bad, it's game over. So just can't overemphasize the importance of making sure that you really know who you're getting involved with. And sometimes it's not even something they did. There's a gut check. There's something doesn't seem right. And, I just can't also speak more highly that trust your gut, trust your instinct. If something isn't right, don't do it. Like, sometimes you can't put your finger on it, but no matter how good the opportunity is or how much you're going to pay or how much it sounds good, like, if it's not right, move on it. Just trust your instinct on that.
That's 100% true. But there's actual science behind all that too. And without getting too deep into the science, I will say this, is that as human beings, as the species that we are, as a human species, we're always looking out to protect ourselves, right? This is why, for instance, if there's a car accident, we'll slow down to go see the car accident because we're trying to study what happened to them so it doesn't happen to me. It's self-preservation, right? That same gut level check exists even when you're doing deals. I'm taking a
This
last bit of
business
money
is
that
not
on
easy.
edge all the time.
There's a
No.
lot of grenades we have to jump on, and there's a lot of issues. There's time where you got to make something happen. It's a lot of effort, and you have to make sure that partner is willing to stick with the hard times. They're willing to go through the grueling times. They're able to cut checks out of the savings account, cut investor payments because that's the right thing if that happens. If there's a water leak and there's got to be a massive cleanup, somebody's got to do it. Either you or the team, somebody's got to take care of it. So as far as like finding partners, I actually met one of my partners, I actually found on Facebook. It wouldn't be a place you would think you would find partnerships with, but what I'm looking for is the integrity of the person, first of all. Then I need to identify what is needed for that property. So I've got a partner, Constantine. He's an amazing operator down in Dayton, Cincinnati. We became really good friends, but that's too far of a travel distance for me to run and operate that property. He lives in that market. So that was the need for that property. He filled the need. He had the morals, values, integrity. He had the skill set. So it was the right person, the right time for the right location. If you have a need and you have a person that's available, but they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skill, even if they have the integrity, they're not going to have the knowledge to execute the property. Because what it comes down to is we don't know what we don't know. There's a lot of money that can be made in this business. There's also a lot of money that can be lost in this business. So again, just because you have somebody with morals, values, integrity, and they're available and they want to do it, doesn't mean they're the right person for the job. So you got to be really cognizant to look at what do I need and do they check those boxes off? Because if not, it's not going to work.
That's right. That's right. All right, guys. So partnerships, super, super, super important. You've heard me say it before. You've heard Jack say it, of course, on this episode. I've said it numerous times on my podcast as well. But spend the time, get to know that person, get to know who it is that you're about to do a big deal with, because you're going to be stuck with this person potentially for 10 years if that's how long the deal is. So you better like him. You better like him. Absolutely.
Yeah, and let's say real quick, if something happens in their life where they go through a divorce, they have some legal involvement of a situation, that may involve you having to sell that asset in order to be able to X them out of that deal. So, those moral decisions, it affects deals like this. So it's going back to what you said, it's so critical to really to evaluate that person.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. If you have any questions for us, if you're liking what you're hearing, go to bulletproofcashflow.com, ask a question. Tell us what you have on your mind. And if we use your question on the air, we're going to send you a free gift. Okay. And of course, if you're liking what you're hearing so far, please leave a comment, rate the show, give us 5 stars. Always love those 5-star ratings, right? Thank you very much for making the time today. Appreciate it. We got more stuff coming up here soon. And take care, guys. All right. Talk to you soon.